Welcome, traders. Weekly market outlook. I'm going to cover the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Russell this week. See if anyone joins here. So let's go. We're going to start with the upcoming economic calendar. And this week we do have a busy week. So last week was super quiet. This week will be very volatile. And it starts on Tuesday. You got core inflation. So that'll be massive. And then on Wednesday, you got PPI and retail sales. And then this whole week, you have a bunch of housing data. You also have the New York manufacturing index. Finally going to get the oil and gas inventories this week. They didn't do them last week. So if you trade those markets, be ready because those numbers will be coming out. And then on Thursday, you got the Philly Fed manufacturing index. So you got a lot of manufacturing. You got also industrial production. And then on Thursday, you got the housing market index. And then on Friday, you got building permits, housing starts. So there's a lot of data. I mean, the big ones will be Tuesday, Wednesday, when we get into inflation, and then PPI and retail sales. I think this inflation number is going to be really interesting. So the previous month we were at 4.1. Consensus is 4.1. Now I know that this month, or this reading that's coming out, is going to be including the increase in health insurance. So last year at this time, health insurance dropped by 4% for the next 12 months. And I think now I saw the projection is that the health insurance should be increasing by 1% for the next 12 months. So that doesn't mean that CPI or inflation is not going to go from 4.1 to 5.1, but the calculation that this number is derived, the health insurance portion of that is going up 1%. So it's going to impact. So I'm kind of surprised that they think it's going to stay the same. Because if it comes in a little hot, 4.2, 4.3, I mean, obviously the market's not going to like that. So I think that's going to be a really interesting day. And then when we look at the charts, I think the timing of it is also really interesting. So some bigger data points coming out here. All right, let's move on to the chart. Let me just make sure. Pop that out. Okay. So on the chart now, I'm going to start with the S&P. This is the futures contract. And last week, I said that this wave up should be ending because I saw like an AB down here. And, and then they were coming up, and I thought, where was it? Yeah, like on Tuesday, I thought that was going to be the top. We were hitting that resistance zone. And I thought that would be the start of the correction, but they went up one more time, corrected, and then still went up one more time. And then gave, on Thursday, a pretty sharp, quick drop. And I thought that was just going to be the start of the correction. So I thought that was going to be A, and then I thought they were coming up here for B, and then this drop I thought was going to be the start coming down for a C wave before they would resume up. So they never gave me the opportunity to get back in, excuse me, to get back in. So I missed that whole move up because I was actually looking for this to break down one more time, given ABC, and I wanted to buy down here. I'm sure a lot of people did, but so they didn't do that. So now that what this looks like is way down here you had a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this whole thing was like an ending diagonal up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back up for 5. So that ends this entire wave up. And then this was just a correction. That's the 4 wave. So now we go all the way back here now. Oops, wrong one. We go back to this one right here, and there's a 1, 2, and this is 3, 4. And so now they need to go up in 5 waves, and I don't see 5 waves yet. So, because this isn't, to me, this only looks like, this is, it's either they're making a diagonal. That's 1, that's 2. That's not 3 though, and that's the problem. So it almost looks like it really looks like this is A, B, and then this is 1, 2. Looks like this is 3, 4, and then I can still see them going up one more time. But that's not how this should be ending. We need 5 waves, and this would only be a 3-wave pattern. So this is getting really interesting, because unless this is going up, that's an ugly looking diagonal. The only thing I can see is this to me looks like 1, 2, and 3, and then there was like a really quick 1, 2, 3 here. So unless that's 1, that's 2, this was 3, and then this 3-wave down was 4, then this would make sense. And 1, 2, 3, and it looks like it's got one more up to complete a 5. And then this whole thing would be, that doesn't look like a diagonal to me. I mean, because if that's 1, that's 3, it shouldn't look like this. It shouldn't be that far above kind of like a trend line, because that'd be 2 and 4 look okay. But for it to be that far above the trend line, usually the price stays within the trend. So if it's creating a diagonal, like the trend lines kind of match up. Like price doesn't fall very far below. So like that would be a much better look. That's just me doing, from a look perspective. So that's why this is getting really interesting as to exactly what this is. It definitely looks more impulsive than a diagonal. I mean, this is 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So to me, I mean, like this correction, there'll be still one more up, but I'd be careful getting up here because, we're in an overbought state on the RSI, on a short term, on the 30, even if you go down, on the shorter time, for like a 1 hour, you're getting kind of overbought, so I think there's going to be a correction, but we just got to figure out what the heck this is. Unless this is, this really looks like it's just 3 waves. And then there's 3 waves down. So unless this is all just a 3rd wave, like this to me definitely looks like it could be 3 waves, 1, 2, and 3. And then you have a 1, 2, and 3. So maybe this is just the A, B, and then this is an ending diagonal, C. So this is 1, that's 2, this is 3, coming down for 4. And then if that's the case, I'd want to see this 4th wave come down a bit more, because then we can kind of start connecting the lines here. And this, if they're going to do like a parallel channel, this 4th wave should be coming down a bit more, get closer to that line, and then go up for, probably like something like that for the 5th wave. So I think you can let this pull back a little bit more, maybe come down to, 44.10 to 15, somewhere in this range, and then maybe play for one more up. And that's why I said, like, with the inflation numbers coming out on Tuesday, I think the timing of that is going to match up, because this will probably take, most of, Monday, and then maybe Monday, it kind of starts going back up. Early Tuesday, you're going back up. But then when the inflation numbers do come out, I think, especially if it comes in at, I think, anything above 4.1, I think the market sells off. And we really need a correction, because when you look at this whole thing, there hasn't been, I mean, that was the biggest pullback was last Thursday, that moved down. So, and that's not a very big correction anyway. So, I think there's one more wave up, but it's limited. So you'd have to be a very short-term trader, because you got to be ready for the sell-off. And then I think after that completes, then there should be a pretty decent correction. I don't know that well, it depends. I think it really depends on that inflation number, because if it's like real hot, like comes in at 4.3 or 4.4, then I think you could get a big three-wave correction and then still go back up, because this is obviously not very corrective looking. So I think one more up and then some type of correction, and I think inflation and retail sales, PPI, I think that'll all kind of dictate how big a correction there is. But definitely when that correction comes down, get a three-wave, you got to be ready, because then there'll be one more up. And so then when we slide over to the Nasdaq, I see, exactly the same thing. This one does look a little bit different in that looks like there was a running flat down here, so you got this one too. I thought this was A, B, and then they were doing, but the same thing here. It just became too impulsive here. And to me, this looks like you've got this, here's 1, 2, that 3, 4, and then here's that ending diagonal. So that's one wave. Then you come all the way back here, and then it's 1, 2, 3, this was 4, and now we're going up for 5. And so that's why I think this one, you've got this 1, 2, I think that's still going to be A, B, and it's just going to be a big, massive C wave. And so we've got this then should be 1, 2, and then this is 3. And I think because the S&P looks like they got one more up, I don't know that this 15,612 is actually the top. It might push up, 10, 20, 30, 40 points more higher, but then you're going to come down here. Now this area that I have will probably slide up just a little bit depending on how high they go. But I think then this is 4, and then still get one more up. And then you'll have your A, B with that big, big C wave. And so that's why I think, Tuesday could be creating these corrections here. So we'll have to see the timing of where we are when inflation comes out. Are we at the top here, or does this correct, go back up in time for Tuesday, and then Tuesday starts the real bigger, much needed correction, to be honest. So, I'd be cautious buying up here, because, if you're short term and you're willing just to play for like one wave up, that I'm fine with that. But I think you got a much bigger correction coming. And then when we look at the Russell, the Russell is obviously much more weaker than the S&P and Nasdaq. So they made their high 2 Fridays ago. Where both the S&P and Nasdaq just set a new high, short-term high last week. So this looks like all I see is just here's one. It's either 1, 2 is here, or this might be like a little running flat. So A, B. Anyway, I think it's just a three-wave move. 1, 2, 3 up. And so far, what I see is just A, B, and C. And because this was that B wave is so small and this is so sharp, I think this is just the three wave for an A, and now you'll probably get like a B wave, and then still one more down for a C wave, and then go back up. But I think that this, now that this might go up into this range up here, but I still think that this is just going to be correction for, go out to a 4-hour. I think after this 5-wave move down, I think this is going to be correction and then still come back down, because I think the pattern for the Russell, go out to a daily, like I've been saying, it had this ABC down and this triangle, and that the triangles are usually not always, but an X wave. So I think this 3-wave pattern, that's going to be W, this is X, and I think this is going to be a Y wave coming down, and Y wave needs to be 3 waves. And so I think this is going to be just correction. I don't believe that the Russell will go and take out that high. Not yet, eventually, but not right now. I don't think that's in its card. I think it's going to do a 1, 2, 3 down, break that 1633, and then you'd have a WXY. And at this point, then you definitely have to play at least for the X wave, and maybe it might come down for that Z wave, or that would be all the correction, and then it would resume back up. That won't happen for a very long time, months, quarters probably. So I do think there's going to be, coming back here, I do think this is going to correct down one more time, and then you will get that end of year rally, and so the Russell will participate. Now, like I said, for the Nasdaq, let me go to the daily. For like the Nasdaq and the S&P, I think that they're going to correct, and then they're coming up to take out the yearly high. But I don't believe the Russell will be taking out that 2003 level. I think they'll just get up probably somewhere into this range, 1820, 1864, and then get rejected. And that'll coincide then with the Nasdaq being somewhere up above 16.2, and then it'll get rejected too. So that's the long term. That won't happen for at least probably 3 months. 2 months. But for the short term, I think everything needs to correct. So the Russell's going to come down. The Nasdaq, I think there's going to be one more down, one more up, and then a much bigger correction. So, but I want to see where this ends. Good morning, Emerald. Thank you. I really tried to work on the notification. As far as I can tell, I'm sending it out. What I did learn, I started at 10:30. Actually, I started at 10:30. No one joined. I waited, excuse me, I had probably about 10 minutes, and then I just restarted the stream just to see if that would help get anyone to join. I'm just wondering, I noticed I did some just Google searching, and under like when you subscribe to my channel, there's different like notification levels. I'm just wondering, do you have it's set to all? I think there's like personalized, and there's some other option that you can choose as far as like what type of subscription you have. I'm just wondering if you have it set to all, because I think if you have it set to all, you should be getting notified when I go live. But yeah, I'm still just not sure. You have all right. Well, I'm not understanding this, because there's one other channel that I subscribe to, and like I'll get just a little pop up saying that they're going live in 30 minutes. And that's what I did today. I actually set this stream up at 10 o'clock my time, and with a live time of 10:30. So I wanted to give a 30-minute heads up. Every time you make a video, it pops up. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I guess I gotta do some more research on how to get this live stream notification going. Not sure why. How did you get notified of this live stream, or did you just check? Did something pop up for you? I guess it probably depends if you're like in YouTube. I don't know. No, I don't. I don't. No, I do have YouTube open always. We'll get there. Yeah, still figuring this whole landscape out. You just checked. Okay. Well, seems like for me, like 10:30 is kind of works best, but I'd still like to be able to notify people so they at least get a little heads up. All right, but so you just joined. So let me no, I'll just start over here. So as I normally do, let me go back. Where am I here? Yeah, go here. So as I normally do, start with the economic calendar, and I just said that I saw the two other ones you made where there was a countdown. Yeah, that's what I did. I thought if I like set it to live at 10 o'clock and put a countdown, like it'll be running, even though I won't be talking or anything, but at least like maybe people would get notified, and then they would come, and then they would see like, oh, okay, it's starting in 30 minutes. I'll check back later. So I was hoping that would, get more people, but uh, I don't know. Maybe people are getting it, but they don't want to do a live stream. But anyway, so back to this. So for the data points coming out this week, it's going to be a very, very busy week. Last week was super quiet, but this week, Tuesday, you got inflation, and then Wednesday you've got PPI and retail sales, and then there's a whole bunch of like medium-sized ones, like a lot of housing. There was no notification prior to that though. Huh. All right. Yeah, I'll look into it again. I don't know. It's like the setup process for a YouTube stream. It's really simple. I mean, there's not a whole lot of options. I've checked every option I can. I don't know. Maybe there's something I gotta unlock somehow. All right, but anyway, so back to the data points. Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be huge, but then even throughout the week, I mean, you just got like the New York manufacturing, and then on Thursday you got the Philly manufacturing, and then we do get oil inventories this week and natural gas inventories on Thursday. They didn't do them last week, and then you got like the Kansas Fed composite and manufacturing index, and then on Friday you got building permits and housing starts. So there's just a lot of data coming out, And obviously the two biggies will be Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday will be the big one. And I don't know if you had joined yet or not, but I was saying before that, the core inflation last month was 4.1, and the consensus for this month is 4.1. But I'm kind of surprised that it's 4.1 because one of the numbers that goes into the inflation number is health insurance. And this month, it starts going up. And I don't know exactly all the calculations that are used to calculate inflation and exactly how in health insurance, but I know that health insurance, it goes up. And so what they do is they take it like on a 12-month basis, and they just kind of like add it all up, the health insurance, and they just divide it by 12, and then they kind of like add that to the inflation number. And so starting now and for the next 12 months, the health insurance portion of the inflation is going up 1% for the next 12 months. So a year ago at this time, health insurance, it was actually dropping by 4% for every month. And so that's why a lot of people were getting really bullish last year at this time, because they saw that the health insurance was going to decrease inflation 4% every month. Not decrease inflation 4%, but the health insurance portion of inflation would be decreasing 4%, which obviously had major impact on bringing inflation down. But now inflation, the health insurance portion of inflation is actually going to be up 1% for the next 12 months, which means this 4.1% is going to be interesting, because unless all the other stuff that goes into inflation is still going down, and just, even though insurance is going down, up 1%, but other stuff is going down, it'll kind of offset each other. But, if this comes in like at 4.2 or 4.3, I think the market's not going to like that. And so that's what I was saying, that I think the market where it is going to be on Tuesday is going to be really interesting. So if we go now and look at the charts, I'll go back to the ES. So I was saying that I think this is creating, let me zoom in. This whole thing is going to be creating an ending diagonal for a fifth wave. And so I think that was 1, that was 2. I think this whole thing is 3, and I think this is going to come down for a 4, so like somewhere maybe like 410 or so. But then it's going to go up one more time, 3 waves for the fifth wave. So these are small waves. I mean, 410, maybe, and I think it'll break 44.35 one more time. And then this will be an ending diagonal. And I think this could all happen like Monday, pretty much, sell off maybe, because this is futures. This could actually happen like Sunday night. It could just sell off really hard, and then maybe Monday you get that one more push up, and then Tuesday it's going to be up here, and then the inflation number comes out, and then if we zoom back out, I mean, this whole thing needs a correction. I mean, that was the biggest correction right there on Thursday, just that little 3-wave guy. So it needs a correction, no matter whether inflation numbers come out or not. It's just been straight up. So I just think that the timing of it is going to be perfect on Tuesday. I think if they push it up one more time, that for me is an ending diagonal for that fifth wave. And then you're going to get some type of a bigger correction. Now it could be just, to there and then back up, or, they could correct much deeper. And then, but I still think when it comes down that it'll be just corrective. And so I'll be counting the ways. I mean, because if they do give that kind of a look, like a 5-wave, very strong, and they're down in here, then that's looking a little scary. because then I think that they'll be breaking the low. But that's not my base case, because as I said last week, I think this whole thing ended up being just an ABC correction. And so now they're in a position to go up. And now usually I would always say that when you have an A, B, C, there's always a potential that that's an A wave, and then you're coming up for a B wave, and then still going down one more time for a C wave before you go. But as I said last week on the Nasdaq, I think this is a WXYXZ, which means this correction is done. And now you go to take out the high. And I said the only way that this would not be a WXYXZ, and I'd be wrong, is if this is an ABC, and I don't think that last wave was 5 waves. I think it was 3 waves. And I said once they break that level, 15,855, that we will that's the confirmation level, or what am I saying? Like an invalidation level, that once they break that level, then it confirms that this is WXYXZ. But not until then. There is the possibility that that's a 3-wave move. That's a 3-wave move, and then this was a 3-wave move, and then they're going up for. So then that would be 1. That would be 2. This was 3. And this is 4, but already, like I said in my last video, like it just doesn't look like, I mean, because unless they're making an expanding diagonal, that's the only way. If they're doing that, 1, 2, 3, but it's getting so high, and I think they're correct, and then if they go up one more time, I mean, you're going to be getting so close to that 15,855 that so I gotta leave it open that there is the possibility that this is a diagonal, but I the higher they go, it's just but not until they break that. I can't confirm it, but this is just so impulsive. It's so strong. I find it hard that they would. From here, they're going to be now coming all the way back down. I could see them correcting, and then going back up. But like the 4th wave, I don't know. This doesn't look corrective. You look at all the others. I mean, you had clear 3 waves. 3 waves. I mean, this is all just 1 wave. So you're going to correct, but then when it comes back up, I mean, that'll be the moment of truth. Then once it breaks 15,612, if they can't break above 855 and then they start selling off, then we'll have to revisit that. All right, let me see what you're saying. The bullish case for the Nasdaq of the guy that uses Elliott waves. I told you before, has a price target around now 19,000. Can you see this happening? No, I can't. Do you know the name of the channel? I'm always curious as to see what other people are saying. So let me go out to the continuous contract here. Go out to the weekly. 19,000. Yeah, no, that, like I said before, I see them coming up and breaking 16,257, and then actually coming all the way down, because I think that is A, B, C, and then I think this is going to be actually I think it's going to be WXY, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to be a 3-wave correction, and then come down, and then this whole thing is going to be, actually let me, then that'll be 3, 3, and then they're going to come down in 5 ways, and then they'll come back up and go to 19,000. But this is obviously going to take a year, 2 years. So that's what I think. I think it's Elliot Ways with Laura. Oh, I've watched her before. I'm probably in agreement with her. I've watched maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 of her videos on different assets, the stock markets. I think she's done natural gas and maybe silver and stuff. 90% I'm in agreement with her. Sometimes she'll have waves that I don't agree with. So, but yeah, for the most part, I like her. All right, so that's the S&P and the Nasdaq, and then if we just take a look at the Russell, I think this is where you joined in, so I don't know how much you saw of this, but I think the pattern that's going to play out for the Russell is that the Russell still has one more down to go, break this 1633 level, and if we zoom in. So far, I see this ABC down. So I think, and that there's 1, 2, 3 waves up, and so far you got this is a really sharp ABC. So I think they're going to give like a little correction up, one more down to here, or just under that previous low of 1684. And then it should go back up. It doesn't necessarily have to break 1770. I think they will, because I think this wave coming up here is going to coincide with like when the Nasdaq and the S&P. It's about time they start showing some love to the Russell. Yeah, I know. The Russell, though, I think has some problems. I just think, in this higher interest rate environment, those smaller companies, the interest rates really affect them, where the big tech, Apple and Alphabet and Microsoft, I mean, they have so much cash. I mean, billions of cash just sitting on their balance sheet that they don't need to go out in finance. If they want a new project, they just pay for it. Where all the other small companies, you got to go out and get debt, and now last 10 years you had basically zero interest or very, very low interest rates, and now you're paying much bigger interest rates, and so that it affects the smaller companies. So I think they're kind of in a bad spot right here. But anyway, so I think the S&P and the Nasdaq, when they make this move up to go break their high, the yearly high, that July high, I think that's going to coincide with the Russell making this move up, but the Russell will not make a new high, a yearly high. I think this, like I said before, we had this 3-wave move, ABC. And I think this triangle, I think that's going to be the X. So I think it's going to be W, X. And now this is 5 waves, correction, and then down, and that'll be the Y wave. And then we'll have to see, because then you could still get 3 waves up, but still one more down. But so that's why I think the Russell, you'll get this nice wave up when the markets are doing their year-end rally to go break their high. Where to? On the Russell? Oh, where do we see the bond market going? Oh, okay. Yeah, so, yeah, let me switch over there. So, yeah, I think the Russell will come up into this range, 1819, maybe 1862. And then that should be the time where the Nasdaq and the S&P are breaking their yearly highs, and then we roll over. And so now if we look at The 2-year. So I think, let me zoom out here. So the 2-year, like I said, I think there's still a possibility that they go and break this 525 level one more time, because I think this is all a leading diagonal, and then we did have this 3-wave move down. I thought they might come down a little bit lower into this zone, but you know, this is pretty sharp. So it's either that's all the correction or that's just the A. They're making a B. They might come down for a C, but I do think they're going to go back up on the 2-year. Because as I said before, this is all just 3 waves. You know, so here's 1, 2, 3 for the first wave, and then here's 3 waves for the second, here's 3 for the third, fourth, and then this, like I said, I think this first piece, this is all just leading diagonal, and I think they've made 3 waves, so it's either they're going to go up now and break it to complete that 5th wave, or this is A, B, they'll come down one more time, but they can't break 460, or because that invalid, then that says that the 5th wave is done. So, you know, we'll see. We should find out, because so far this just looks like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Actually, it's looking like they're making a diagonal here, so they might be going all the way up now. Like this will just be the first part, because I think that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, this is 4. So I think they gotta make a little correction and still go up one more time, and then you'll have 5 waves, and then we'll watch the correction. If it's just shallow, then that might just be up, and then they come back down, because then that would be just a ABC. But if this goes a little bit deeper, then I think that could be 1, 2, then they're coming up for 3, 4, and 5 to take out that high. So that's the 2-year. So the 2-year, I do think it's got one more final wave up. It's just going to be a matter of, is the low in, is that all the correction, and now we go and take it, or they got one more drop and then up. And then on the 10-year, like I said, they did ABC, ABC. I was looking at this again. I'm trying to think what I saw. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. I looked at this 10-year again. I think this 1, 2, and then 3. I think this is 1. And then this was 2. And they went up for 3. I think they're in 4. But I think this 4th wave is going to come down one more time. But then I think it's got one more for 5. A, B, C. So that was ABC for 1, 2. I think this is a running flat here. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I think this has got one more drop and then one more up. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 3 waves actually. So just like the 2-year, it does have 3 waves down. So we got to see now. This one doesn't look as strong as the 2-year. Looks like they're making a leading diagonal. This one's just got 3 waves. So this could be the A wave, and this could be the B wave already. Just a little B, still one more down. They might not get all the way down there. They might just come and break that low. Then that'll be A, B, C. But then I think that'll be 4, and then you'll get 3 waves up one more time for 5. So that's what I see. It 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did draw this as the whole thing. Okay. So it's one of two things here. Let me go back out. It's either, yeah, that's what it is. Let me show you this. It's one of two things. They're still making this leading diagonal. So you had this ABC. This is 1. This ABC. This is 2. And now this whole move all the way up, that's just one wave. So it's either the 10-year is in, or, so it's a 3, 3, 5, and that's all just one wave. And now you're going to get a much bigger correction. They'll probably be coming down, I would assume, like into the 3s somewhere before they resume. Or they're making a leading diagonal. And this ABC, that's 1. This ABC is 2. And now this is just the first part of the third wave. So we zoom back in. So this is like the A, they're going to make a B. And then if they go up again, I think then you'll have confirmation that that was 1, this is 2, and that's 3, and then you get a 4 and then a 5. So then then the 10-year's going high. So this coming down is going to be really, really interesting, because they broke this invalidation point so that we know that this wave, let me clean this all up, that this wave going up is done. And so that's, like I said, it's either that's A, B, and then this was all the C wave, and now you're going to get a really big correction, at least down into 3.9 to 3.2, probably even lower, 3. If they go down closer to 3, that'd be really good for the small caps. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's what the small caps need is some relief here. So this wave coming down is really going to be interesting. So if we zoom back in, like I said, I see this as just a 3-wave move down. So are they going up? Because then that would be, come on, this whole move, this would be like A, 3 waves for B, and then they go up C, and then that tells you that the 10-year is just going to keep grinding up higher in a diagonal format. But like I said, this, let me see here. I mean, all we have is 1 and then 3-wave correction down, and they're getting ready to go up for 3. So watch this. The higher obviously this goes, because then that could be 1, 2, 3, and then maybe they give a 4 and a 5, and then you got an impulse, which tells you that they're going to be taking out that high probably. You see this happening by year end. Yeah, it's too hard to tell. I need to know what this thing is, because we do have 3 waves, so it's in position where they could go and take that out, and if they do, they'll do it by year end for sure. But I have a feeling that because this was pretty sharp down, I have a feeling that they're going to do 1, 2, 3. That's going to be a B, and then come down one more time and break that low, that 447 low, and then this wave will really tell what's going on. Because if it's just going to be 3, 3, and 5, and then they come back up and take that out, I think then they come all the way up. But if this really starts to push down, then I think this could be, we'll have to see how high this goes. It'll either be, this is 1 and that's 2, and then, you know, coming down for 3, 4, and 5, or this could just be A, B, C. So let's see where this wave ends, and then let's see if they come down, and this wave will help me kind of have a sense of what they're doing, how strong this down draft is. So yeah, more. I need more data on this. I need to see how high this goes and how low that goes. I need those two waves. Now, like I said, if this comes up real high, then I think that's 1, 2, 3, and then they might just give a small correction for 4, and then go back up for 5, and then you'll have your answer that they're going to correct and then still go up one more time. But if this just kind of stops there and gets rejected, then that just looks like A, B, and then they'll come down possibly for a C wave, but then we'll have to see how strong that gets. You know, because if it just gets to here and then starts coming back up, then that looks like just a correction. So need to see how high that goes first, and then if they're coming down, we'll see how strong they come down. All right. All right, so that's the stocks and the bonds. Anything else? See if there's anyone else that joined. Oh, we did have 7 people come. Only you are on right now, but it looks like you were right about VRSF. That's that big one that, yeah, I had that. Oh, that's the IPO one. So let's see. So what did they do last week? All right, so you got, oh no, they just drifted lower. Which it should. I mean, because I think, you know, this is obviously an impulse. Now it's just a matter of, are they making a running flat there? But this looks corrective. I mean, you had down, up, down, so 3 waves. And it looks like they came about halfway down. So that's what you would want to see, because now they'd be in a position where that's 1, 2, should get a strong 3rd wave. And then just have to see, you know, if you could get a 4 and then a 5, wow, that's perfect. Then you'll get a bigger correction, but you're still going to have at least one more up. So, yeah, this is the one that I think you said you were 50% under, so you must have bought. Well, I don't think this is real. This is 2020, so you must have bought, let's see, 278. 58. Oh, so you must be like $1.60, $1.80 or so. Oh, sitting. Oh, it's sitting at 87 now. Yeah, 86.4. Yeah. So if you're somewhere in this $1.60 range, I think you have a good chance of getting to break even. You know, maybe in 2 weeks. $1.47 average? Oh, even better. Yeah. So let's see. $1.31, $1.43. Yeah. I mean, I think if they're gonna make a 3rd wave here. Now, obviously, this this 57 has to hold, but if this is 1, 2, this third wave should be ending definitely something in the 40s. So yeah, I think you can get to break even on the third wave here. And so, I mean, who knows, but like I was looking at the Nasdaq and S&P, and I think that they're going to go and after a correction, that they're going to then go and make their high. I think they'll, I think everything will participate in a year-end rally. So you could definitely get this to break even on this third wave, and then if you're lucky, then they'll just give a little correction and then still one more up and get into the 60s, and then at that point, you might want to think about taking some profit, if not all, because then after this 5-wave move, if they give a 5-wave move, then you're going to get a bigger correction, and you can probably buy it, like around $1. So, but we could keep an eye on this, when we do these live streams. We can keep checking on this guy for you and see what kind of pattern they're making. I mean, it might just be, that they'll make a 3-wave correct up move and then come down in 3 and then go up in 3. Who knows? I mean, you got to wait and see. But yeah, I'd like your chances of being able to get break even. It's a small cap tech, yeah. Hey, but it's got AI in the name, so that that used to be a hot thing in July. All you had to mention was AI, and the stock jumped 20%. So no, I think this is looking good, but obviously you need to break it. If they can break, the only thing that I'm not worried, but is if this is a running flat. This right there, because of how this ended right here in 3 waves. It would have been better if they ended in 4. There is a potential that this is a running flat, and then, but this doesn't. I mean, unless they're nesting this thing, like this is 1, 2. That's 1. Come on. That's 1, 2, and then this is that's not even 1, 2. This is just a little 1, 2, 3. And that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you gotta watch this little wave. Last time you mentioned we could break all-time high, but the number we had to look for was 122. On this stock, no, that looks like this last June the high was 278. I hope I didn't say 122. Now in June they got the 278. Yeah, so this for right now this is definitely looking corrective. I mean, it's just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Let me go down to a 4-hour. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's that? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, you said if it can't break 122, then it's most likely go. Oh, let's look at that. 120. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. If they can't break that, actually now this line comes down. If they can't break that 110, then this is a running flat over here, and then this will go down in 5 waves to complete that. Now, when I do zoom in here, I guess, let's see, it could be making an ending diagonal. 1, 2, 3. See, I don't really see Unless that's, oh yeah, right there. 1, 2, 3. But this coming down, there's not, I mean, unless that's the 1, 2, but that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this looks like 5 waves, so 3, 3, 5. So I think this really has to hold. If they break below 80.94, then this could be making an any diagonal to come down, but then that should be, well, let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now that looks like a running flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it actually does now that I look at it. There is the potential that this is the fourth wave here, if this is going to be a running flat. So here's what I'll say. If they break 80.94, I think they're going to come in and break this 56 one more time. But then this whole thing will be a 5-wave move. And then you should get a correction. And hopefully there you can get out. So these are the two levels to watch on this guy. 80 and 110. One of those will break. And that'll tell you, if they can break 110, then it's not a running flat. And then I do believe that this is 1, 2, and then they're going to go up for a 3, and you'll have a good chance of being at break even, and then you have to make a decision. But if they break this, I think it'll just come and break this 56, and who knows where it'll go, 55, 50. But then you're going to get a correction. So, might be just a waiting game. You're going to have to wait, let them correct up for you. But I'll tell you, I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about this company, but like if I see the S&P and the Nasdaq, like they're going to correct. Yeah, so maybe when the S&P and Nasdaq are correcting, this is going to create its new low. Yeah, all right. I could say, I was going to say, I see the Nasdaq and S&P going to break their high, but first on the Nasdaq and S&P, they need that correction. So maybe this comes down when the whole market corrects. Yeah, let's keep an eye on it. It'll be interesting. Let's keep an eye on this. I'm actually gonna add an alert here. Let me know if that breaks this week. Actually, I'll add this to my watch list. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. If it breaks 80 this week, like when the whole market is correcting, then you might be in a waiting game and have to let this go. And if you're in a position where you can like add a little bit down here, so you can bring that $1.47 down, that might be good, because like I said, then I would see this being a 5-wave move, and then it's either one of two things. I don't know how you would. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, I think this looks very, very much one. That's probably 2, or that's 2. It doesn't matter. But it's just a 3-wave move up. So 1, 2, 3. And if this is 5 waves down, I think then this is going to correct up, but then still come back down one more time even. It's on the Canadian side. I'd be curious if you see the same. It's on the Canadian side. Oh, it's a Canadian stock? OTC. Oh, it must be. Yeah, it's not on a U.S. stock exchange. Is that where you live in Canada? Yeah, so let's keep an eye on this, because, like I said, if it's 5 waves, I think, let that 5 wave play. You're going to get a correction, but then you got to know that it's still going to come down. So hopefully they'll give you a chance to get out if they can make it, 3 wave up to that $1.47. So let's see how kind of correction that would be. Say they come down to 50. Oh yeah, yeah, dollar. Oh yeah, in Alberta. All right, very good. Good to know. All right, so let's watch this because I think this might be coming down. If the market sells off, I think everything will sell off when it makes their correction. And then so if this has one more leg and then they'll give you that correction, I think you'll have a chance. Now this might be a while, because you got to wait for the down move and then there'll be an up, correct, and then at least one more up. She'll get a 3 wave correction up. Hopefully they can get really close to that $1.47. Then you might want to think about, well, you can do one or two. If you play options, you can always do some selling of calls against it just to generate a little bit of income while you're waiting, or just hope that it gives you a 3 wave correction up and then maybe get out, because if it does come down here, that's 5 waves, and so you'll get a 3 wave correction and down, and then I think it'd be in a good position because then you'd have 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then it should start going up, but that'll be a long time. So we'll keep an eye on this. All right, any other questions? Let's see if anyone else joined here. No, just you. 7 people came in, or 6 other people have come and gone, but you're the only one on right now. What's my background? Well, I worked at a bank in their IT department. Did that for over 25 years, and then in 2018, then I quit that to do trading full time. Yeah, so I did worked in IT, so I was doing a lot of like programming, website development. So I'm very technical in that regards. And then when I got into the trading world and I heard about something called technical analysis, I was like, whoa, what's that? So that's when I started pouring myself into learning all this technical mumbo jumbo. And then I stumbled upon Elliott wave, but then I found something called wave analysis, which is it's 90% Elliott wave. It's kind of like Elliott wave 2.0. It's just there's a couple nuances that I follow that are not in Elliott wave, and so like a lot of people, when I watch their videos on Elliott wave, I'm like, no, I don't agree with that. So that's why like that Lara person that you were following, that you watched, she's strictly just Elliott wave, and so there's just a couple of things that I don't agree with, and there's really like one big one and 2 smaller nuances in wave analysis versus Elliott wave. And so I've subscribed to that theory. I like that. It makes more sense, and I can validate it with what I've seen in the 5 years now that I've been doing this. trading just for yourself, or do you manage other people's money? I mainly manage my money, and then I also do my dad's money. Do you do trading full time? You seem to have a pretty wide base of stuff anyway. I mean, you were the one who told me about uranium and that you do oil and stocks and you're looking at bonds, so you're pretty well versed here. Ah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you find value. Yeah, it's just, it's one way of looking at the stock market. As you've seen, some people love to throw hate around, but it's like, it's just what I see. Might not agree with it, but it's how I trade. Still working. I spend a lot of time studying, trading the market. Yeah, good. I think it's really good to do that. Maybe someday you'll do it full time because with trading, what I like is you don't need really a whole lot. It's like you can just do it out of your house, work your own hours. But if you're like me, I mean, it's I actually spend more hours doing trading things, studying the charts and just constantly looking at ways and counting ways and fixing mistakes and whatnot, and doing research, watching TV, CNBC, and listening to those TV analysts, and so overall, I spend way more time on a weekly basis. So I used to have a normal 40-hour a week job, and I spend way more than 40 hours watching the markets. But I enjoy it way more too. So it doesn't really feel like a job. I hope to get good enough to stop working and live off of the market. Once I do that, I can live just about anywhere in the world. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like you don't, you know, I had a job here at a bank in Chicago, so obviously I was tied to Chicago area my whole life living here. But yeah, with trading, yeah, I mean, I go on vacation and I'm checking the markets. You don't have to be in one place. So yeah, it's a very flexible job. I like it. And for me, I mean, I'm just all day long. That's all I do is I solve puzzles. I'm just constantly looking at what pattern are they making? What could they be making? And just start eliminating certain patterns and give one pattern a higher probability than another pattern and trade that way. And then it reaches certain levels, and all right, that validates it's doing this rather than that. And so I love puzzles. So yeah, doing this is fun. Ever since I started trading, I find the weekend to be so boring. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, but you need a break. I mean, because so many times, like I'm getting so stuck, so attached to the screen and to the small waves. The very small waves. I'm just watching and watching and and it's like every now and then you just need to get away, kind of like zoom out and look at the higher degree of the charts anyway, because it's like you get so focused on these little small ways that you don't realize, oh yeah, what's the bigger picture really doing? Is this all up or are we going down? And it's like, sometimes you just need that time, just even just a couple hours just to get away, come back, kind of like start all over, and then you go, oh, why was I thinking that? So yeah, no, I hear you though. It's like, yeah, there's not much to do on the weekends. But that's when I do a lot of, you know, more research and, now lately I do videos, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, that's what it is, prepare for the week ahead. Use the weekend to do that, try to come up with a plan. So I'm always trying to define levels of where, if the price comes to here, then I think this pattern is playing out. And so then that gives me, when it reaches this level, that's when I go long or that's when I go short. So that's what I use the weekend for. Like, okay, if this pattern's playing out, it should go to here, and that's where I'll enter. And so I try to come up with my entry points, and then from there go, okay, I'll go there. If it falls too far, then I need to get out, take the loss. Otherwise, it should be going up and going down to take profit. But yeah, use the weekend to come up with my plan. You went a bit overweight on that stock. It has me a bit worried, but hope it'll come back to me. I won't let myself into that kind of situation ever again. Yeah, I've done that. It's, like with natural gas. I mean, I got in way too early. When it was falling, I started jumping in. And, when it hit a certain level, I was like, okay, I thought that there was a big ABC, and I'm like, okay, that's an ABC, and now it's gonna zoom up. So I bought in, and then spent the next 3 months still falling, and so I've just been holding on to that trade. But now I've actually been hedging it by shorting natural gas. So I still got a long position on. It happens, but I what I've learned is that what I went in. I never traded options before, and now I'm starting to really use that to my benefit. So like when I get into a position that goes against me, I can start to use options to make a little bit of money while I'm waiting. And then like I said, I'm actually short also now. I'm net long natural gas, but I have a short position on. So I'm making a little bit in options on the long side while I wait for this down wave to end. But I'm gonna make some decent money because I think natural gas has got to go break its low. So it should be a 5 wave move coming in that. So I'll make money there. But yeah, it happens. You get in, you think, especially like on an AI stock, I didn't foresee the market rollover. Yeah. Well, I was doing fine trading ETF such as net gas, oil, gold, got carried away. Yeah. Well, it was easy during the summer. I mean, because everybody, I mean, it just, I can't recall in the 5 years that I've been trading the stock market just going straight up that strong, that quick, all because, I mean, when Nvidia reported back in, I think it was May, and they had they beat their revenue. It was supposed to be seven. I remember 7 billion. They were supposed to be making, and they made 11, I think it was 11 billion. And such a huge beat, and that just the whole market just flipped. I mean, it was just like, oh, AI is really going to be changing the world, all companies, and so everybody's in their reporting earnings report. That's all they had to say was, we're investing in AI, and boom, everybody was going up. Microsoft, I mean, Broadcom, everybody, AMD, they just all just went vertical. And so, you know, you decided to go that route into that stock. But yeah, I'll say it's always hard with new companies, with new IPOs. That's a very common pattern that I've seen of, a company IPO comes out and the stock jumps. I mean, what was the recent one? Oh God, what was that? There was somebody that just IPO'd. If it comes to me, we'll look at the chart. But I know that the stock, it opened up at, like in the 40s or something, and boom, it was up into the 60s, and now it's at 40. So that's a very common thing with IPOs. It's like there's always that euphoria. Oh, it's a new company, they're going to change the world. Everyone jumps in, and a month, 2 months later, and it's below its IPO price. So I've kind of learned that. I've never really been into buying IPO stocks, but I've seen that happen enough that I know that you just don't jump in. I mean, let it rise up, and then there's at least going to be a correction of some kind. Options sound good. I don't have it enabled on my trading for the time being, but that's something I have to consider later on for sure. You can make a lot of money with options. Yeah, you can. And I because like I said, you can really kind of play like a hedging type of game, so that even if you buy something and it does fall, you can still make some money while it's falling. So I've learned that, and it helps. While you're sitting there waiting, you could still make a little bit. There's so much you can lose also. Yep. Oh yeah. Same. I mean, options and futures. They're nice, but futures with that leverage, it's gotta be careful. Got to stick to some type of rule system. It's frustrating to see Microsoft going to an all-time new high, and there's nothing happening in the small caps. Yeah, it's a big tech world right now, and I think that that's why they'll lead on this way up for this final leg up, but then I think everything comes crashing down. The good thing about VR is that they are working with regulators. Yeah, that's always good, because that gives like bigger hedge funds, bigger institutions more confident in investing something that's being regulated. All the AI companies so far aren't regulated. No, I didn't know that. Yeah, AI, it's a strange thing. I mean, it's gonna be so impactful, it's so powerful, but it's also right now it's so scary. Like, as far as what what bad could come, and especially when you get bad actors and bad countries that could use it to really, who knows what. But yeah, they still remains to be seen on how they can control it to be only used for good. We will see what happens. Yep. All All right, Emerald, you got anything else? If not, I think I'm gonna go grab some lunch here. See if anyone else is on. No, just you. That's it for today. Thank you for your time and efforts, sir. You are most welcome. Once again, appreciate you joining. It'd be very lonely, too quiet. I would actually probably would have just stopped the stream and just created a video anyway. All right, Emerald. Well, good luck to you. Let's watch that stock of yours. We'll see. You'll get an answer this week. One of those two levels will break this week. We'll just have to see if they can push above 110. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it for the next streams too. Hopefully, I can try to figure out how we can maybe get a few people to join us here. All right, Emerald. I'll talk to you during the week. Probably Wednesday. I'll be doing the commodity one, so we'll talk then. But good luck to you, and let's have some fun this week. All right, I'll talk to you later.